Heavy or Not, jump cut number 33.
Trump cuts CDC's drowning prevention team. Article from Politico. Understand what these reported changes at the CDC could mean for drowning prevention. A critical issue.
Absolutely. And the article gets right to the point, doesn't it? It says, layoffs at the CDC have basically wiped out the specific team focused on drowning prevention.
Right. It's not just, people moving desks. It's a complete loss of that specific focus within the agency.
Yeah, that dedicated expertise.
And what really jumped out at me reading the piece was the timing. It mentions these cuts happen when water safety seems to be facing real headwinds. Drowning deaths actually went up during the pandemic years.
They did. The article cites, 4,300 in 2023, up from around 4,000 pre-pandemic.
And tragically, a big surge among the youngest kids, ages 1 to 4. Drowning's already the leading killer for them.
Maybe it's fallout from COVID.
Yeah, fewer lifeguards maybe.
Yeah.
Lessons canceled.
Could be. It talks about that challenge of building back, like maybe a whole cohort of kids missed out on learning to swim.
A lost generation, almost, in terms of water safety skills.
Possibly. And maybe aquatic professionals left the field too. A lot of those community wellness duties just weren't being filled during that disruption.
That makes a lot of sense contextually. And the CDC team wasn't just tracking numbers, vital as that is.
No, they were actively working with partners.
Right, like the YMCA, the Red Cross. Specifically trying to get swimming lessons to kids most at risk, that collaboration.
Ground to a halt, and that's a huge concern. States will keep sending data in, sure, but without that team to analyze it, to look for national trends, disparities, you lose that big picture. That guidance on where the problems are worst, like the higher rates in certain communities, the article mentions American Indian, Alaska Native, Black populations.
So without that national analysis, it's harder for local groups to know where to focus, to reach the right people.
They use that Chicago example, remember?
Yeah, the local task force there saying they really relied on the CDC data for planning. Without it, their targeting is hampered.
And it hits funding too, right? You need data to make the case for grants, that whole needs statement thing.
But you need the proof.
And beyond the data crunching, there's unfinished work mentioned.
Oh yeah, the scientists quoted anonymously.
Right. They were looking at ER data for non-fatal drownings, super important for understanding the full scope.
And data on kids with autism, a vulnerable group. Plus another project analyzing some new data source, all just stopped midstream.
Along with those partnerships.
It really is more than just numbers then. It's active research, active partnerships aimed at prevention, especially for those higher risk groups.
Yeah, one of the scientists quoted basically said, the work getting lessons to kids with higher drowning rates, that might stop. And that's really, really unfortunate.
Which underlines that point about local efforts needing to step up now, doesn't it? Like maybe swim teams, coaches, becoming real advocates in their communities.
It does seem to point that way. Others might need to become evangelists, fill that gap, and highlights that challenge of filling those wellness roles post-COVID, building back capacity.
Okay, so let's sum up what this Politico article suggests. We're seeing a loss of dedicated national data analysis.
Unfinished research on specific risks.
Key partnerships stalled, the ones getting lessons to kids.
And potential impacts on future state funding from the CDC.
It leaves you wondering then how vital data is for tracking disparities, understanding shocks like the pandemic. So with this dedicated national analysis reportedly gone, what does that absence mean for keeping everyone safe around water going forward? What questions does that raise for you thinking about safety efforts?
In North America, it's graduation season, and stay tuned. You'll hear a speech from a comedian at graduation, and it's not Kermit. But first, a few blurbs, heavy as they are, about artificial intelligence advancements.
The online software tool, Google Meet, is getting real-time speech translation thanks to an artificial intelligence upgrade. Real-time speech translation allows for a natural, free-flowing conversation with someone in a different language. Speech translation puts spoken words into the listener's preferred language in real time. Voice, tone, and expression are preserved in the translation. The latency for speech translation is low, allowing for multiple people to chat together. When the person on the other side speaks, you still faintly hear their original voice, with the translated speech overlaid on top. English and Spanish are the first to roll out. More languages come in the next few weeks, including Italian, German, and Portuguese. That's sweet about Google Meet. Stay tuned for use cases for sports. But let's talk about another AI development in the tool shipyard. This one, Crisp, records meetings silently, offering you full transcriptions, and it does note-taking. It hit the marketplace a while ago offering background noise reduction. So if you are in an important interview and the dog starts barking or you have children in the background, this AI tool eliminates that noise in real time. But there is more. I'm on plenty of software development meetings as well as presentations with international experts in sport. Their English, yet foreign-sounding words can be hard to understand. The new feature is accent conversion. You can listen with AI-driven accent clarity that ensures every word lands as intended. Then, the meeting's notes can sync to my CRM. That's the Client Relationship Manager. And ours is available for teams in our network at lap.red. With the notes that fire into the database, there can be centralized action items. So, as a staff, we can automate the tracking of tasks from all meetings so nothing falls through the cracks. The transcript can be saved as text, audio, or video. Another fine point is that Crisp has a custom vocabulary. Workspace terms and abbreviations can trip up the value of the AI-generated outputs. Now those concepts can be put into focus, so D1, DPS, WAFSU, ISCA, and ASCA can be clearly understood. Friends, podcast listeners, fellow coaches, and tech buddies, now is the time to come along and jump with us on the AI bandwagon. Keep listening to Heavy or Not, as we promise to share our insights on the journey, as we need to amp up productivity.
I'm not an inspirational speaker. I've never lost a limb on a mountainside, metaphorically or otherwise, and I'm certainly not here to give career advice because, well, I've never really had what most would consider a job. However, I have had large groups of people listening to what I say for quite a few years now, and it's given me an inflated sense of self-importance. So I will now, at the ripe old age of 37.9, bestow upon you 9 life lessons. 1, you don't have to have a dream. Americans on talent shows always talk about their dreams. Fine, if you have something you've always wanted to do, dreamed of, like in your heart, go for it. After all, it's something to do with your time, chasing a dream. And if it's a big enough one, it'll take you most of your life to achieve, so by the time you get to it and are staring into the abyss of the meaninglessness of your achievement, you'll be almost dead, so it won't matter. I never really had one of these dreams, and so I advocate passionate dedication to the pursuit of short-term goals. Be micro-ambitious. Put your head down and work with pride on whatever is in front of you. You never know where you might end up. Just be aware the next worthy pursuit will probably appear in your periphery, which is why you should be careful of long-term dreams. If you focus too far in front of you, you won't see the shiny thing out the corner of your eye. 2, don't seek happiness. Happiness is like an orgasm. If you think about it too much, it goes away. Keep busy and aim to make someone else happy, and you might find you get some as a side effect. We didn't evolve to be constantly content. Contented Homo erectus got eaten before passing on their genes. 3, remember, it's all luck. You are lucky to be here. You are incalculably lucky to be born. Understanding that you can't truly take credit for your successes, nor truly blame others for their failures, will humble you and make you more compassionate. Empathy is intuitive, but is also something you can work on intellectually. 4, exercise. I'm sorry, you pasty, pale, smoking philosophy grads, arching your eyebrows into a Cartesian curve as you watch the human movement mob winding their way through the miniature traffic cones of their existence. You are wrong and they are right. Well, you're half right. You think, therefore you are, but also you jog, therefore you sleep, therefore you're not overwhelmed by existential angst. You can't be can't, and you don't want to be. Play a sport, do yoga, pump iron, run, whatever, but take care of your body. You're going to need it. Most of you mob are going to live to nearly 100, and even the poorest of you will achieve a level of wealth that most humans throughout history could not have dreamed of. And this long, luxurious life ahead of you is going to make you depressed. 5, be hard on your opinions. A famous bon mot asserts that opinions are like arseholes, in that everyone has one. There is great wisdom in this, but I would add that opinions differ significantly from arseholes and that yours should be constantly and thoroughly examined. We must think critically and not just about the ideas of others. Be hard on your beliefs, take them out onto the veranda and hit them with a cricket bat. Be intellectually rigorous, identify your biases, your prejudices, your privileges. Most of society's arguments are kept alive by a failure to acknowledge nuance. We tend to generate false dichotomies and then try to argue one point using two entirely different sets of assumptions, like two tennis players trying to win a match by hitting beautifully executed shots from either end of separate tennis courts. 6. Be a teacher, please, please, please be a teacher. Teachers are the most admirable and important people in the world. You don't have to do it forever, but if you're in doubt about what to do, be an amazing teacher. Even if you're not a teacher, be a teacher. Share your ideas. Don't take for granted your education. Rejoice in what you learn and spray it. 7. Define yourself by what you love. I found myself doing this thing a bit recently where if someone asks me what sort of music I like, I say, well, I don't listen to the radio because pop song lyrics annoy me. Or if someone asks me what food I like, I say, I think truffle oil is overused and slightly obnoxious. And I see it all the time online, people whose idea of being part of a subculture is to hate Coldplay or football or feminists or the Liberal Party. We have a tendency to define ourselves in opposition to stuff. As a comedian, I make my living out of it. But try to also express your passion for things you love. Be demonstrative and generous in your praise of those you admire. Send thank you cards and give standing ovations. Be pro stuff, not just anti stuff. 8. Respect people with less power than you. I have in the past made important decisions about people I work with, agents and producers, big decisions, based largely on how they treat the wait staff in the restaurants we're having the meeting in. I don't care if you're the most powerful cat in the room, I will judge you on how you treat the least powerful. So there. 9, finally, don't rush. You don't need to already know what you're going to do with the rest of your life. Don't panic. You will soon be dead. Life will sometimes seem long and tough, and God, it's tiring. And you will sometimes be happy and sometimes sad, and then you'll be old, and then you'll be dead. There is only one sensible thing to do with this empty existence, and that is fill it. Not fill it, fill it. Life is best filled by learning as much as you can about as much as you can, taking pride in whatever you're doing, having compassion, sharing ideas, running, being enthusiastic. And then there's love and travel and wine and sex and art and kids and giving and mountain climbing, but you know all that stuff already. It's an incredibly exciting thing, this one meaningless life of yours. Good luck, and thank you for indulging me.